I'm all right. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Especially well today, may I say?
I spot the mug.
Mm.
Shout out to Lorraine to say
Thanks,
thank you for
Lorraine.
the mug.
That's so cute. Hayley's mom bought me a mug and put it in the post because it fits with my brand colours, brand identity, consistency, maintaining.
It does. And that leads us on to say, hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of A Measure of Marketing, all about maintaining your brand identity.
Yes, this was a request. A request from a listener. So the request was, let's chat about if you have a small team within an organization and everyone's dealing with different parts of either social media or marketing channels, how do you maintain your tone of voice, your brand, the way it looks, the way it feels to an external audience? How do you do that across all channels or even just on one? We was just chatting about this before we hit record, and I also think that it applies to small business owners as well. I think if you are learning marketing or you might not know a whole lot about it, it's something that you are working towards knowing, it can be quite easy as a solo business owner to go through the to-do list and do things really quickly, and your brand consistency can be diluted over time by doing that. So the principles, I think, apply to both. If you're solo, if you've got a small team, and if you have a massive team as well, which is harder. But often there's more approval processes in place from my experience. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I would say with anything with maintaining your brand identity, never underestimate the support and the direction that brand guidelines can bring. And I think a lot of people skip that part as part of their brand strategy piece. And I think people see it as a bad use of time. But even now, when I've had brand guidelines created for my Amazing Marketing brand, and even the brand guidelines created for A Measure of Marketing, I still refer to them because you forget your hex codes, unless you've got them all nicely done in Canva, which I have. I still, if I'm in a different platform or whatever, you forget, you don't remember everything. You think, oh, that's a similar shape, that'll do. And that's where it starts to kind of like tumble. You sort of lose the finesse, I would say, when it comes to your brand. So that would be my first thing for us to discuss is the creation of branding guidelines.
Yeah, and you and I both work with clients on the bit before that as well, I think, which is around really doing that deep work and thinking about your mission, purpose, values, why you're doing what you're doing, who your target audience is, how you want to be perceived, how your brand will be perceived by your target audience. And that kind of feeds into the tone of voice as well, your brand personality. This is all of the information that can go into brand guidelines as well. And I think that is really important to do and keep reflecting on as well. If you're a solo business owner, if you have a small team, like spend that time to just look through it again, keep reconnecting with it, have conversations about that, because that does influence then your actions, and it grounds you back into the direction of your business as well. I think that's really important. But yeah, brand guidelines, I use mine still. Like that was probably one of the first things I did, actually, because I think that's the way we probably naturally work. But I just needed one space to put everything, a reminder of what I was feeling and what I like, how I visualized my brand, and what I wanted it to be. If someone was to read them brand guidelines, would they be able to pick up on the tone and the personality of my business? Yeah, like I hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, hex codes, cannot remember them.
I think one thing that does get forgotten more than hex codes actually in the whole creation of the brand guidelines or the build is the tone of voice. And when I work with clients, actually something I've finessed over time is how you adopt different tone of voice for different clients, because they have a different way of posing something or writing. And if you get that wrong, you can see it a mile off, be it in a blog post or social media post. And I have such admiration for copywriters that can pick up on tone of voice, so quickly and can swap and change. Takes me a little while because I'm not necessarily a copywriter, even though I copyright. But I think, don't forget that tone of voice, because say if you've got more than one person that's managing your branded social media accounts and they're proposing and creating copy, if they're not aligned, you will spot. And we, like, even say with the measured marketing, we have different styles of working on our social posts, but I think they sort of work well based on where we take responsibility for what we're posting. But if you've got that one brand and an organization where you are splitting the management, or say you've got two part-time executives who are managing the social media accounts, that's really tough actually, because it can really show a mile off that they haven't got it. They're not in sync. They're not reading or talking to each other when it comes to the tone of voice, and it's missed. I think it's missed in branding guidelines.
Yeah, and across channels as well. Like if you've got someone working on email marketing and then someone on social, and then someone on website copy and all the rest that comes with it. It does need to be, it changes slightly because it might be more promotional on one or direct on one than another, more conversational on another, but it needs to look like it's just one person sat behind it all. And that's a difficult task. I think I've worked in big organizations, like very big, and then I have worked in a smaller team before. There was still only like two or three of us. But throughout all of my career, but this is because I was in a marketing role, a brand and marketing role, we always spoke about it. We talked about it all the time. And I would preach that small businesses, no matter what the industry, even if you've got a team that they're not specifically a marketing team, but they do marketing tasks within their role, often you find that people are doing a lot of different things. They're not specialized in one area, which is fine. That's how we have to do things. But to really carve out that time to talk about the personality of the brand, the tone of voice, print things off and stick them side by side. Like, it's hard to see it on digital channels sometimes, but like just sticking things on a wall and seeing if that consistency is there, and just bringing it into like daily conversation as much as possible, I think is really important to do. That's what I would advise. That's what's always really helped as a marketing team, me and colleagues in the past.
I remember one time working for a slightly larger organization than our audience, and every department had a social media ambassador within it who wrote copy for social media, and then there was a central comms team that I led who put it out on social media. And actually the struggle of trying to ensure that everybody kind of had a similar tone of voice, with what it's really hard. So there's something really simple and beneficial about being a small organization when you're running social media, that, it may feel like a challenge that you've got 2 or 3 people that you need to unite, or you need to get on the same level. But actually it can be done really easily with just exactly like you said, making it simple, making it easy to kind of get your head around, because it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't at all.
Yeah, and also I think there's definitely a benefit to having a smaller team, because you can talk more freely and easily and connect the dots. When you're in a large organization, it is very difficult, and that communication does completely break down. But then there's approval processes in place where there might not be in a small organization. But I would also get people to write for different channels as well. Just, if it's possible, keep someone just on social, like get them to do the breadth of the work, and everyone just have that experience, because I think it makes you more strategic minded at the same time. You can see how one channel can influence another, and like where data's coming from, or like emails from customers to go into your email addresses to go into your email part, to what your website's doing. And although that's more customer journey, actually the messaging around that really influences each channel. And if that messaging isn't right, that activity won't happen. You won't see the results, in my opinion. Like that customer journey around the messaging, I think, is really important.
I'd agree with that.
What else can we advise on consistency? An audit, like a good solid audit. I don't know, do you offer audits for your clients? Yeah, I do too. I would sometimes, this isn't a sell here, but just having someone external to do an audit is always really helpful. I did one last Christmas for a small business owner, and I think she'd had a VA helping her, so someone external to her business that she'd freelance some work out to, and no fault of anybody's, but it did go astray. Like, her messaging did go astray, and they picked up on like a theme to talk about on social, and it was not relevant to the services that she was offering. It was a fun theme, and like national days and things like that, national calendar days. Like, she lost her message, and not so much the tone of voice, but just lost the purpose behind what she was actually talking about. And and the results followed. They dropped. She got less engagement because it was hazy for our audience to see. So an external audit is always good. Sometimes they can see what you can't see internally.
I would throw into that as well. I know we've spoken about tone of voice, and we've spoken about things like branded colours, logos and things like that. But actually, I think auditing, being mindful of what images you choose. I think, especially when you've got more than one person choosing an image for the website to support an external blog post, email marketing to social, I think when you see a Marks and Spencer's advert, when you see a John Lewis advert, Marks and Spencer's, for example, you see the imagery, even if the TV's on mute, without that music and that narration, it's M&S. It's really clever. And I think if you can be spotted within a feed or whatever with the use of imagery, and people go, oh, that's so-and-so and so-and-so, that's really elevating your brand identity. You're not just maintaining it, you're really pushing it out there. And I think audit your imagery as well. Just check, does it meet? It's taken me a while, I think, as a marketer as well, working alongside brand designers and brand consultants to really reflect and understand that.
Yes, I agree on that. And it is easy. It's easy to have a long to-do list and be like, just got to get that blog out or that social post out, and find stock imagery, and fits with the theme, so tick, like, let's go. And actually, sometimes maintaining your brand identity elevating your brand, sometimes there's a big pause before we go live or post. There has to be a bit of a pause, and that also comes down to the communication in the business and the culture within the business, which we won't go on to, but just allowing your team the time to plan, to prep, execute, sit back, look. Like I've never had that time in most go. I think that's really important. And as a small business owner, when you're working on it by yourself, we was just talking about this before we hit record here, is like creating that space to just like breathe. And is this what I want to do, or am I just ticking a box here? And does it fit with this and this that's going on as well? And I think there is always this urgency just to, whether you're a small business owner posting to your own LinkedIn profile, or whether you are a marketer on behalf of a brand, there's always this pressure. Oh, I must have a social post, I must have a blog post, and time is never on your side. But it's feeling, I've got to get that done today, I've got to hit send, oh, the wording's not quite right. And I get the 80-20 rule, totally understand it and appreciate it, but sometimes it's just not ready. And actually, to have that confidence to push back and go, I'm not letting this out because it doesn't meet my branding guidelines. It's not, the image isn't right. The wording needs tweaking. It's fine. We just pause and we just reflect a little bit. And there's this undue pressure that you have to just go. And, sometimes it's okay. Not ready. That's so true. And I'm not championing everything needs to be perfect, but do you know when you get in your stomach and you're like, oh, it'll do.
Trust your gut.
Trust your gut. If you're thinking it'll do, that means it's not right.
It's not right. No.
It's better not to post it than to post it. And
don't make do.
Don't make do. But also don't strive for perfection, because that probably doesn't exist as well. But you can get it close to your brand guidelines.
Yeah, exactly that.
So brand guidelines, going back to the foundations of why we're doing what we're doing.
Tone of voice.
How we want our brand to be perceived. Communication within the team. Pausing, reflecting, listening to your gut on some things as well.
Considering an audit.
Audits, printing things out, pinning them to the walls, just stepping back and having a little look at things. And I would say that cross-functional skill between your team, getting people to write for different channels and connect the dots, the customer journey pattern as well.
I'd agree with that too. Nice takeaways there.
That was good. I hope that was helpful for everyone that's listening. We are obviously here to offer our help and do the audits, or just have a conversation, or review things for you as well. If you've got a new campaign that's landing, or a new product or service that you're landing as well, happy to help with that. So I think that's us done for episode 8.
It's episode 9.
Episode 9. What is it again? I know. I remember analysing marketing metrics. I forget.
I think it's going to be a good one.
Is it?
I can tell you for why, if you want me to share.
Right. I didn't know if he was joking before. Do you know, before we hit record, and he was like, that's going to be a good one. I was like, is she being sarcastic?
No.
Sure.
No, I think it is. I think marketing success, how you define it, how you measure it, and what metrics to use, I think can go to measure every metric under the sun.
No, I'm not.
And as a small business, you don't have time for that. So what actually are the measurements that are going to generate more meaningful results and decision making from one campaign to the next, and just look at it a little bit differently. That's why I think it's going to be quite a good one, because yeah, I'm not down the vanity metric side. I'm down the, okay, what's the overall measurement?
Okay, I'm excited for this one.
Same, pumped you up, girl.
You did. Yeah, I never used to be a geeky, like a data person, but I am more so now ever than, yeah, any time in my past. Anyways, I'll leave that. Looking forward to seeing everybody in episode 9 then.
Yeah, we'll get on to that.
Excellent.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much, Hayley, and thank you, Lorraine, and cute. Thank you to everyone for listening, and see you in episode 9.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye. Bye.